Hey guys, Hackers here, back again with another video, and in this video we're going to be looking at how to generate a reverse TCP payload for Android using MSF Venom. So in the previous MSF Venom video we looked at how to generate an undetectable payload, and we were looking at how to, you were asking me, well actually a lot of you were asking me how to generate these payloads for Android and whether or not they can be detected. Well, the truth is, this method, as I've tried many times, usually doesn't get detected and it should work. The only thing you have to worry about is getting the app installed on your target's device and setting up the connection correctly. Alright, so I'll also be working on a port forwarding video. You know that the reason it's taken so long is because I wanted to make sure it works for everyone. In addition, I have the buffer overflow videos coming as well, and then finally we'll be finishing off with the web application penetration testing series. So I need to wrap up some of the series that have been going for too long. That being said, let's get started with this video. So again, many of you are asking if you can get what's the best module to use or the best payload, and in my mind it is the reverse TCP interpreter, because it's really simple to set up and it shouldn't cause too much of a problem in terms of detection. That is if your target does not have an antivirus on the Android phone. Not a lot of people do, as I read from the statistics before I started making this video. Only about 4% of all Android users actually have a working antivirus software on their device. Most of these are cleaner softwares or any of these that promise you full protection. These are really just garbage, you know, in terms of whether or not they can detect real softwares. And again, for those of you saying, why did I upload the previous payload to VirusTotal? The reason I did that is because you guys asked me to, and I said it in the previous video when you're talking about encoding. I think the video before the MSF video, the MSF Venom video, you guys were talking about how to do it, and I said that it's not a very good way of doing it. So for those of you saying why I did it because you asked me to do it. Anyway, sorry about going into that rabbit hole. So you can see I have my Nexus 5X connected to Kali Linux here, and I'm going to be transferring the payload APK onto my phone, and then I'll bring up my phone screen, and then we'll see the reverse connection happening here. Okay, so I've changed my working directory into the desktop, and I'll explain why as we move along. So let's start off MSF Venom. I'm pretty sure you know the MSF Venom syntax now, so let me just expand that. Sorry, let me just clear this terminal now, and MSF Venom. All right, so now we have to select the payload, and that is done with the P option or the P parameter. And now we select the payload name, which is Android. This is very similar to Metasploit, so Meterpreter and reverse TCP. And now we need to select our L host or our IP, the listener's IP. So let me just check that right now, because I've just started up this virtual machine. 192.168.1.110. all right, so we set the L host to 192.168.1.110. Now of course you can use different types of encoders again and again, and that's up to you to use. This usually works without an issue as far as I'm concerned. And now we select the port. So we'll select something like 444, one of my favorite ones, and now we need to select the conversion, because we are converting it to Android, and that can be done manually, because this payload will automatically knows what payload you're creating and in what format. So now you need to specify the output and the application name. So this can be done by selecting the directory in which you want to store the APK. So root desktop, and I'm going to call the application, let's just call it, let's see, test app.apk, you know, something really stupid. Now of course getting it onto your target's device is going to be the trickiest bit, and that's where social engineering comes into place, and the whole process of binding a real application to the payload, which can be done, but that involves reverse engineering on already existing application and then injecting the malicious code or the payload into that application. But as I said, this can work great if you have access to your target's device, and you can quickly just install this. It will be pretty useful or very effective that way. Not that I'm encouraging that. This video is strictly for educational purposes only. All right, so now that we've selected the application name, so I'm going to hit enter. And don't worry about the architecture and the encoder. I mean, not the encoder, the platform, because this payload already knows that. And as you can see on our desktop, it's already generated the file, but it'll tell you here that no platform was selected. It's going to select the platform from the payload, which is what we want. Alright, so the payload size is 8811 bytes or 8811 bytes. And now we need to copy this onto our Android device. Alright, so I have the test app here and I had my file open here. So I'm going to open up my Nexus 5X. Let me just open this up. And I'm going to open up this files folder that I created just so I can transfer this application. So I'm going to transfer it into there. And for some reason, this probably because my screen is locked. Let me just try this again. Let me just try and copy it back. All right, so I've copied it back and we're still getting the error. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to unplug my device and I'm going to plug it back in. So let me just do that right now. Probably the error with the USB reading here. So transfer files. Yes, that's what we want to do. All right, Nexus 5X. And let me open this up again. And we open our files here and I'm going to copy that into there. And for some reason it just doesn't want to copy. So if this is the problem, let me just minimize this and I'm just going to copy this application onto my desktop here on Windows, and I'll unplug my phone from there. And let me just sorry about this, by the way, removable devices, and we don't want that to connect. So let me plug in my device again. Apologies for this. It seems that Kali Linux, the write function is not working, probably something to do with my phone. And all right, there we are. So Nexus 5X, and we want to open up my files here and internal storage, and we're just going to get into my files here. For some reason, the read speed is really slow, and I'm going to copy that application in there. All right, and for some reason, it just isn't copying into there. I really wonder what is causing this. So let me just go back and paste it into my downloads here. All right, so it's in my downloads. It looks like it copied them into my downloads. So it looks like there's a problem with that folder. I probably had permissions written on it because I have been performing a lot of Android testing lately. Anyway, so I have the app on my phone, and let me just, you should see the screen anywhere from now to about 5 seconds while I start recording this. So you should see it pop up anytime soon. Let me just open up the folder that I had it in, and let me just install the application. All right, so I'm installing the app and you should see it. So you can see that the application name is main activity, and that's because we really haven't given this application any detail or info in terms of its title, but you can see all the permissions. So this is the type of attack that you do when you had access to someone's phone. And again, this is for educational purposes. So this will really work great for that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to hit install, and it's going to install the application. And I'm just going to wait for it to say app is installed. So I'm going to hit done, or I can actually just hit open. But before we do that, we actually now need to start the multi-handler on the Metasploit framework. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start up MSF console here. So MSF console, and I'm going to hit enter. All right, and I'm going to hit open on the application, and it should open up there. And I've opened the application, but don't worry, I'll open it again. It should be in my app drawer. Let's start the Metasploit console here. Give that a few seconds. Again, you should have started the database. You know, being an idiot that I am, I didn't start the database, which, you know, as you can see, it usually just takes a while. So we're just going to wait for that to start up. My screen recording should have stopped by now until I can actually get this Metasploit framework to start. And there we are. So we're using the multi-handler. So use exploit, and this is the multi-handler like so, and I'm going to hit enter, and now we can set the payload, which is what we want to do. Set payload, and this is going to be the Android meterpreter and reverse TCP, because that's the same payload we used on MSF Venom. And I'm going to hit enter, and it should have set the payload. Now we need to set the L host. If you just show the options like so, you can see that we have to set the L host. So set L host to 192.168.1.110. I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to set the L port to 444, what we set on the payload when we were generating the application, and I'm going to hit enter, and now we can finally hit exploit. The application had already ran on my device. If you've started the reverse TCP handler, let me just start the recording one more time. And as you can see, I've opened the application and we do have a interpreter session. So on my Android device, I started the application once and it started the process, and it is able to keep it running until probably the user turns off the Wi-Fi or changes connection. So that's also something that might be a bit of a disadvantage, is that the application, sorry about that, the application has to be automatically started or manually started over and over, but I'll perform some more research on this. So you can see the IP that it connected from, and we now have a interpreter session. Now most of you are asking, what type of commands can you run on this? Well, there are a lot of commands that you can run, and one of my favorite ones is to check if the device is rooted. So you can hit check root, and again my device is rooted as usual. You can then also use the send SMS functionality, which works flawlessly, and this allows you to send an SMS from the target's device to any other number in that country or any other number worldwide. So you do this by saying send SMS, and you'd select the dialer, and that's done by the D command, and then select the number. So it could be, you know, whatever, just select the number that you want there. And once you've selected the number, you then select or actually let me enter a random number here. So you select your phone number. After the phone number, you select what text you want to send or any type of integer, but make sure you put it in quotations because it is only processed as string. So you're going to type in your message there and hit enter, and it's going to send the SMS. Now, of course, the number that you send it to has to be valid. Okay, so that are some of the basic commands. You then have your other ones like that involve the the checking of system information, like sysinfo. You can see that I'm running Android Oreo, and you know, I use Malwarebytes, and it still didn't detect any type of malicious application when I installed it. You can then use your geolocate functionality, which should not work on Oreo, because I think they fixed that. If I looked at their patching, they don't allow applications to toggle on the location when the device is not on wake. So let's try that, LAN geolocate. Let's see if it actually is able. Yeah, so that will fail on Android devices running a new operating system than Nougat, which is Android version 7, I believe. It should work on Marshmallow and below. You then have your webcam functionality, which is really easy to implement, which is webcam, and you can use the webcam snap. Now, of course, I don't really know to specify the type of camera. That's something that I really got confused. Let's see if this can snap a picture. And for some reason, the interpreter session died. This seems to be the security protocols with Android Oreo. I have tried this on other devices, and if the interpreter session closes, just give it a few seconds to start up again. And as you can see, the webcam snap functionality failed or timed out. That means that it is being blocked or stopped, and that is a security feature with Android Oreo. So it's good to see that Android in general have been working on security features. This should work though on any device running Marshmallow and below. Right, so that is how to create a payload that works on Android. And of course, you know, many of you will say that it doesn't work, or you know, this will be detected. Well, go ahead and try it and let me know what you think. The main trick here is to successfully install it on your target's Android device without them knowing or without any suspicion. So social engineering is going to be the key. That being said, that's going to be it for this video, guys. If you found value in this video, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comment section on my social networks, or you can post them on my website, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace.